On Christmas morning, I overheard my wife tell her sister, "He's so pathetic." 2 weeks later, her sister texted me. She's screaming, "Please answer her." Hey Reddit, I, 31mem, was married to Alice, 29F, for 5 years. I say was because what happened this Christmas changed everything. And I mean everything. It started like a normal December. The house was decorated. The tree was up. Alice and I were wrapping gifts together, sipping cocoa, listening to cheesy holiday playlists. She'd been spending a lot of time with her sister Holly, but I didn't think much of it. Sisters are close, especially around the holidays. I'd worked extra hours to afford the gifts I knew Alice had been hinting about. A piece of jewelry. She liked high-end earbuds, and that fancy Korean skincare set she always raved about. I was genuinely excited to see her open them. Call me a sap, but I love giving gifts. I thought it made her happy. Christmas morning. The conversation. That changed everything. Everyone was staying over for the holidays. Her parents in the downstairs guest room, Holly in the upstairs one. It was 7 a.m. on Christmas Day. I got up early to make coffee for everyone and was on my way upstairs to ask if they wanted any. That's when I heard them. The door to the guest room was cracked open. I froze when I heard Alice say, "He's so pathetic." Then laughter. Every Christmas he gets so excited about the gifts he gives me, like he's expecting a medal or something. Holly laughed. Then Alice again. "The best part? Every single gift I get him is bought with his own credit card. He never checks the statements. He's like a trained dog, so happy with whatever scraps I throw him." They laughed again, louder. This time. I just stood there. My hands were shaking. The coffee mug nearly slipped from my fingers. I turned around and walked quietly back downstairs, trying to breathe. The show must go. On an hour later, we were all downstairs opening presents. Alice acted thrilled over the gifts I got her. She laid it on thick. "Oh my God, babe, you always know exactly what I want." Fake smiles, over-the-top reactions, Oscar-worthy. I watched it all like a stranger in my own life. Then I opened my gifts, a new watch, premium headphones, a collector's edition game I mentioned months ago. All of it. Paid for by me, through credit cards in my name. I just smiled, said thank you, and watched her bask in the attention as her family told her how lucky she was to have me. The worst part? Her social media post later that day. "My amazing husband got me everything I wanted." Blessed, hundreds of likes. Comments like, "You're so lucky," and "couple goals." I wanted to throw my phone. The financial rabbit hole. After everyone left on the 27th, I started digging. I pulled our credit card and bank. Statements, something I should have done years ago. And holy hell, it was worse than I ever imagined. Cash advances from my credit cards. Purchases disguised as household expenses. Secret store cards opened in both our names. Withdrawals from our joint savings. Hundreds, sometimes thousands, going straight to Holly. Designer bags, spa treatments, expensive lunches, and all the while she'd been telling me we couldn't afford to fix the bathroom or take that trip I wanted. 5 years of lies. I didn't sleep much after that. Every night I'd lie next to her, staring at the ceiling, hearing her voice in my head. "He's like a trained dog." She had no idea I was planning something. New Year's Eve. The fee. Switch flips. We went to a friend's party. Alice got drunk, ignored me the whole night, then demanded we leave early, said she had a headache. The second we got home, she was on her phone, smiling, probably texting Holly. That was it. I was done being the joke. That night, I opened my laptop and made a list. Everything I had, everything I needed to do. I started quietly preparing my exit, gathering documents, screenshots, emails, account numbers, planning. The trained dog? Yeah, he was about to learn some new tricks. D-Day Alice had planned to spend the weekend at Holly's. She thought I'd just be home waiting for her like always. She had no idea I'd already consulted a lawyer, frozen our joint accounts, and filed for divorce. I took the day off work, changed every password, closed every card I could. transferred what was legally mine to a new account. That morning, just before she left, I made her coffee, one final act of obedience. She kissed my cheek and said, "Don't miss me too much." Oh, I won't. After she left, I dropped the divorce papers at her sister's house. Then I blocked her, changed my number, packed what I needed, and left. 2 days later, the text from Holly, 2 days of silence. Then a text from Holly. She's, screaming, "Please answer her." I didn't. Instead, I sent the documentation of every financial misdeed to my lawyer with a request to press for full financial disclosure in the divorce proceedings. Turns out, Alice's little game might have been funny to her and Holly, but the IRS doesn't laugh at credit card fraud, identity theft, or using someone else's name to open accounts, and neither do I. Final update. It's been a month. I'm in a new apartment, peaceful, quiet. No fake smiles, no lies. Alice has tried reaching out. Through friends, through family. Even her mother called me in tears. I haven't said a word. She can scream all she wants. This trained dog, he's off the leash. After my last post, something in me just shifted. I entered this weird phase of unnatural calm. I was only sleeping 4 hours a night, maybe less, but my mind was razor sharp. Like all the emotions, rage, heartbreak, humiliation, had crystallized into pure focus. Alice must have sensed something. The morning after my post, she offered to make me coffee. Let me be clear. In 5 years of marriage, she has never made me coffee. That was always my thing. Her sudden kindness wasn't just suspicious, it was insulting. Like she thought a half-assed gesture could undo everything. Too little, too late. Lockdown mode. During lunch that day, I sat in my car and called my bank. I changed every password, set up two-factor authentication, reported my cards as potentially compromised, and had new ones shipped. To my office, not home. When Alice texted later asking about a fraud alert on the joint account, I told her I was updating security after reading about a data breach. She bought it. The irony of her being worried about fraud, you couldn't make this up. Operation Sanity. I started a journal, not just for legal purposes, but for myself. Screenshots of statements, credit card bills, photos of the gifts she'd given me that I'd actually paid for, notes on her behavior. It helped. It reminded me I wasn't crazy. I also began slowly, subtly changing my routines. Stopped doing her laundry. Quit asking what she wanted for dinner. Went to the gym after work instead of rushing home. Declined her friend's birthday dinner, something I never would have done before. Stopped texting her during the day. Nothing dramatic, just quiet resistance. She noticed. On day 4, she asked if everything was okay. I just shrugged and blamed work stress. The old me would have apologized, reassured her, done something romantic to make up for it. Not anymore. The bigger moves. Behind the scenes, I was making real progress. Found a modest one-bedroom apartment 20 minutes away. Paid the deposit and first month's rent from a personal savings account she didn't know existed. I'd originally started it for a surprise anniversary trip. Guess that's not happening anymore. I also reached out to an old college buddy who's now a financial advisor. We met for drinks that turned into a 3-hour strategy session. His face when I showed him what Alice had been doing, he was floored. He helped me set up a step-by-step plan to untangle everything financially. Red flags in hindsight. It became clearer by the day how blind I'd been. She'd always dismissed my concerns about money, always had new clothes, but we could never afford house repairs. She hated when I looked at our joint account. She guilted me out of buying anything for myself. And she gradually isolated me from my closest friends, especially Jake and Mark. I reached out to them for the first time in 2 years. Turns out they'd tried staying in touch. Alice told them I was too busy, overwhelmed, didn't want to, be bothered. Lies. We met up for beers. I didn't spill everything yet, but reconnecting felt good. Paranoia sets. In around day 8, I noticed Alice texting more than usual. Late that night, I pretended to be asleep on the couch. She slipped into the bathroom with her phone. The door didn't close fully. I heard her whispering to Holly. "Something's wrong with Theo. He's acting different. What if he knows something?" Holly brushed it off. "You're being paranoid. He's too clueless to figure anything out." That comment? That comment sealed everything for me. The final stretch. By day 10, I'd opened new accounts at a separate bank, moved my direct deposit, documented all our assets, collected birth certificate, passport, insurance info, and quietly packed a suitcase, stored it in my trunk. I also consulted with a divorce attorney recommended by my financial advisor. Alice started getting clingy, tried initiating sex twice in 1 week, which hadn't happened in months. I turned her down with excuses about being tired. The confusion on her face almost made me laugh. The trained dog wasn't performing anymore. The final dinner. That Wednesday, Holly came over for dinner. I played my role perfectly. The slightly distant but polite husband, made small talk, cleaned up afterward. Then I said I had to finish work upstairs. Instead, I sat quietly at the top of the stairs, the same spot where I first heard the truth on Christmas morning. And sure enough, they started talking. Alice sounded nervous. "Theo's acting weird, distant. He's not texting, not doing anything I ask." Holly laughed it off. "He's just going through a phase. You've got him wrapped too tight for anything to change." If only they knew. D-Day, Friday morning. Alice was heading to Holly's for the weekend. I helped her pack, carried her, overnight bag to the trunk, kissed her goodbye. She smiled and said, "I'll miss you." I smiled right back. "I'll miss you too." As soon as her car disappeared down the street, I sprang into action. The movers, who I'd scheduled weeks earlier, arrived 30 minutes later. In 3 hours, they cleared out everything that was mine, furniture I'd brought into the marriage. My electronics, clothes, personal items, half the kitchen items. Only what I could prove I'd paid for every document and asset I'd tracked down, I was fair. I left all her clothes, her vanity, desk, bookshelves, anything that was clearly hers or bought jointly but I couldn't prove ownership of. I didn't touch it. By mid-afternoon, the house looked half empty. So did the trained dog's leash. The apartment was functional, not cozy, not warm, but mine. The movers had been awesome. No questions, just efficiency. I tipped them well. Then I went to the bank and withdrew exactly half of our joint savings, not a penny more. Even though she'd been bleeding it dry for years, I wanted to be legally and morally clean. Back at the house, I set the final scene. On the dining room table, I laid everything out. Copies of credit card statements with her gift purchases, screenshots of cash transfers, receipts for the Christmas gifts I bought her, records of the money she'd sent to Holly from our joint. Account the audio recording of them calling me a trained dog. It's a one-party consent state, totally legal. On top of the pile, divorce papers. Next to them, my house key, my wedding ring. Then I blocked her number, but not before sending one last text. "The trained dog learned some new tricks. Enjoy your weekend with Holly." I didn't block unknown numbers. I'm not a monster. Emergencies? Fine. I went to my new place, ordered a pizza, cracked open a beer, waited. Around 8 p.m., the phone lit up like fireworks. Unknown numbers, emails, social media, voicemails. She'd clearly come home early and walked into her worst nightmare. I didn't answer a single one. With each ignored ping, I felt lighter. For the first time in years, I could breathe. The next morning, 10:04 a.m., text from Holly. "She's screaming. Please answer her." I smiled, took a screenshot, went back to building my IKEA desk. Those damn hex wrenches, am I right? More texts followed. "This isn't funny anymore, Theo. She's having a breakdown. At least tell me where you took everything. She called your work. They said you took vacation days." That one made me laugh. "Yeah, I planned for that. 5 vacation days, quietly saved. She had no idea. Around noon, I finally responded. You both laughed at me on Christmas, called me a trained dog. How's it feel to be on the other side? She responded instantly. Just girl talk. You're taking it out of context. Alice loves you. Then, you're a monster for abandoning your wife. Cognitive dissonance on full display, blocked. That evening, the meltdown had spilled onto social media. Alice posted a vague sob story about her husband vanishing and taking everything. No mention of the cheating, the manipulation, the money. Friends commented, OMG, are you okay? What a jerk. Typical. Meanwhile, Jake and Mark texted, You good, man? They'd gotten nasty messages from her, too. They didn't know where I was. Wouldn't have told her anyway. That first night alone? Weird. Air mattress, pizza box, half-unpacked boxes, silence. Years of Alice's constant chatter, Holly's voice on speakerphone, the TV always on. I had to put on a podcast just to fill the silence. Slept like garbage. Woke up at 3 a.m., pit in my stomach. Not regret, just the weight of reality. 5 years of marriage, gone. Plans, dreams, all of it, gone. For a second, I almost texted her. Almost. Then I remembered Christmas morning, remembered the receipts, remembered the voice that called me a trained dog. The pit hardened into resolve. Day 2. Texts kept coming, now from Alice's parents. Her dad was decent. Hope we can talk. Her mom? Not so much. Called me every name in the book. Didn't respond to either. Mutual friends started messaging. Most had only heard her side. I replied with one sentence. There are 2 sides to every story. I'll share mine when I'm ready. Started building a new routine. Groceries delivered, avoiding our usual store. Set up my gaming rig. Hung some pictures. Bought houseplants. Always wanted some. Alice said they were messy. Day 3. Checked my email. One message, 3:42 a.m. From Alice. I know I messed up. Whatever you think you heard, we can fix this. Please talk to me. The house feels so empty without you. Holly pressured me to act cool. You know how she is. Please come home. Darvo 101. Deny. Attack. Reverse victim and offender. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Didn't reply. Later, unknown number called. I picked up. Holly. Sounded off. Quiet. No smugness. She said Alice hadn't slept, had called in sick, and she'd maxed out her personal credit cards. No access to my income, no joint accounts. She was broke, not my problem. I told Holly that. Added that maybe Alice should have thought about that before treating me like an ATM. Holly cried, apologized, said she never meant for it to go this far. Almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered her laughing at me. Trained dog. Before hanging up, I told her one thing. Tell Alice my lawyer will contact her next week. That's the only communication she's getting from me. Weeks passed. The messages slowed. Flowers at my work. A letter in my mailbox. A playlist on Spotify. Blocked, blocked, blocked. She even had to get a roommate to afford the mortgage. Guess who? Holly. Chef's kiss of irony. 3 weeks post-escape. First and only face-to-face meeting with lawyers. Alice looked smaller. Hair messy. Tired. She cried when she saw me, tried to approach. Her lawyer stopped her. Mine laid out our terms. Sell the house. Split proceeds. What I took, I had receipts for. No alimony, no contact, clean break. Her lawyer countered with laughable demands. She wanted the house. Wanted me to pay her credit card debt. Wanted alimony. My lawyer slid over the folder. Everything. Every receipt. Every screenshot. The audio recording. Alice's face. Priceless. Her lawyer's. Better. They stepped out for a private talk. came back with a much more reasonable offer. We didn't settle everything that day, but the power shift was clear. As I walked out, she followed me, grabbed my arm, begging, crying, said she'd change, therapy, cut off Holly, whatever it takes. For a split second, I saw the Alice I'd loved, the woman who nursed me when I was sick, who laughed at my dumb jokes. Then I remembered, he's like a trained dog. I gently pulled her hand off my arm, said the only words I would ever say to her again. I deserve better than being someone's joke. So do you. And I walked away. 3 months later, divorce finalized, house sold, proceeds split, assets divided, no contest, no alimony. 6 months later. My apartment feels like home, friends old and new, cooking class. Turns out I'm not half bad. Alice? Still living with Holly. Her boyfriend moved out. Pressure cracked their perfect sisterhood. Sometimes at night I still think about it all, not with regret, with wonder. How did I not see it sooner? Why did I put up with it? Therapy's helping me answer that. It wasn't weakness, it was trust. I trusted someone who didn't deserve it. Yesterday, Alice sent me a friend request. Declined. 10 minutes later, a text from an unknown number. I miss you. I'm sorry. I've changed. I didn't respond, didn't even flinch. That chapter's closed. The trained dog, he learned new tricks, found a new home. And he's finally off the leash. And you know what? The air's never smelled so good.